Hoodly doodly one and all. Welcome back. I am going to do some more work in my Compendium journal. First of all though, I want to just show you, I did do a little mini video of how I, excuse me, finished off last week's projects. So I just want to give you a quick run through. So that was the pocket that I made from the back of the envelope, and then this was the using the flap. So I attached those on the page, and as you can see, look, it's the same on the other side, so it looks pretty on the other side too. And then I just redid the little notebook because I kind of rushed it a bit, because I did too much of that, too much gabbing. So I did some stamping on it, and I restamped the create, added some different pages in there. Maureen's little tip. So there you go, that's in there. So yeah, I just rearranged some of the pages in the book, and added a double seam binding on the top. Now I got asked a few times about how did I create this page. I didn't. It was part of a pack that I bought from AliExpress, and it got stickers in the front, but also in the back it had got stickers of pages, but it had also then got paper printed pages. But it's really easy to sort of imitate this. So basically it's a book page that's been reduced down in size, and then if you used one of the stickers on top of it, maybe if you've got some stickers of bees, add those on top of that. So that's sort of really easy to recreate, but I didn't do that one. So that's what that then looks like, that page. So I'm quite happy with how that turned out, but less gabbing this time and no live. I decided to record it because I've got the pop-up shop this weekend, and I need to complete orders and things on that, so I'm going to record. I wanted to do something else with envelopes. Now if you've got loads of envelopes that have got the same kind of windows in, I've got a few tips for you, because one of the issues, actually one of the moderators, Natalie, brought this up about the windows. It's really hard to decorate around the windows, so here's a couple of tips for you. One is photocopy the envelope and then cut out the window, and then use that as a template that you can then sit on top of your papers, and you've got the window already sorted out for you. The other way of doing it, if you haven't got a photocopier, is get a piece of paper, just a scrap piece of paper, and line it up. As I say, if you get the same size envelopes regularly with the windows in, you know, but if you don't, you can make a template for each one. And then I can see roughly the outline, and I'm just going to use a pencil, and on its side just colour in. So now I've got an outline of the window, and then I could cut that out and use that as my template. So if again bring it up close for you to see, so you can see now, look, I've got a solid line, so I could cut that out. The other thought is you could actually peel off the cellophane piece that's on the back, this window bit. You could peel it off, and then you've got something to draw around there as well. So there's 3 different little tips on what you can do with window envelopes to just make it easier, so that you're not always encroaching on, because even if you rip stuff or put napkins on and stuff, it's still a little bit on the fiddly side. But if you've got yourself a template, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. I'm going to chop one of these envelopes up, put that aside for another day, and you see that distance from there to there, I want to recreate that down there, and I'm guessing, I'm not measuring, but if you want to measure you can do. So I'm just going to chop along there, and you watch, that'll be as straight as a donkey's hind leg. Yeah, a little bit. The other thing that I'm then going to do is I'm just going to trim off a top edge up here that's folded, and then that will open that up. Now, if you've got the flap on the back, like here, and you pulled it open, you'll want to stick that back down. But I was posh, ripped it, so I just want to straighten that edge up as well. Okay, and I'm also going to keep this bit to hand because I want to use that bit as well. So now, when I open it up, I've got a booklet shape. Ta-da! Alright, so I just want to stick that bit of envelope down. Where's my glue? Get my glue. So any little loose bits, stick them down. Alright. So I'm going to decorate the front. I want something that's going to be visible in the window, because otherwise what's the point of having a window? And I want to create some pockets on the back here. So this is where this part of the envelope comes in. So that will sit on that back piece eventually. But when I close it up, even if I push that in as far as it'll go, there's bits overhanging the edge. So I need to make sure that I cut that down so that there's no parts overhanging. Okay. Right, so now when I close it up, there's no bits overhanging the edge there. I'm going to cut this into two pieces. So this is the bottom edge that's all sealed up, you know, it's folded over. So back and forth to my scissors, then couldn't decide what I was going to do. So I'm just going to cut about 1.5 inches ish, and I'm going to sit that in the bottom. And this piece that's left is now like that. If it's sealed at this end for you, then you've got a sleeve. I'll open it up. So you could end up with a sleeve. Alright, but my edge is open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually sit that behind. Right, so that will sit in there. Leave the gap at the bottom. Sit that one on top. And I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets there. Alright. But first of all, I need to decorate up all these pieces. So I had a look through my little booklet of all sorts of odds and sods of papers, and I've already chosen which ones I'm going to use. So I put some book pages in here that I'd got. So this is now going to act as my substrate. Alright, so the substrate is a base that you then create on top of. So I'm going to use these book pages on this to decorate it up. And I thought that would make a good part there. That could act as part of a pocket, which could maybe go on one of those pieces. See what else we've got. That could actually sit behind, and that could be the image showing through. So let's get my pencil. Maybe not there, because if I put that on there, I've then got this bit on the back that's not covered. Oh, hang on, what's that bit? Okay, because I want it to cover the whole of that half on the back side. So I know that I want it to there, and to there, and there. So I'm just putting some tick marks on. And in fact, I could even draw around. And then I want a little tick mark there. So that's that bit. bit. And so that will then sit on the back side there. Oh, that wording's upside down. Not to worry. Not to worry. We'll just say that we did that on purpose. Okay, now I'm going to attach this piece on the back here to form a pocket. Alright, so I want to glue around 3 sides. So down that fold there, across that bottom bit there, and down that edge there. And then sit that on top. Oop. So now it means that if I put something inside, a tag or a journaling card, that will slip in there and that will show through the window. But it means that when I withdraw that, at least I've got a nice pretty image on the inside of that pocket as well. Okay, this side. I want that at the top. So again, I'm just going to mark it with my pencil. There. And there. So let's trim that bit first. In fact, let's go much shorter. As I say, I know I'm adding pockets on the top. So this doesn't have to go right the way down to the bottom. So that will sit on there. Then I'll decorate that one up so you can see now why I don't need to go down to the bottom, look, because if I stick that on top and then stick that on top, you won't know that that hasn't gone right the way down to the bottom. Alright, glue. I tell you, my brain's not in gear today at all. Come on, Carol, shape yourself, woman. Now I don't want it sat right on top of that crease because it'll all just bunch up. So I want it sat right next to, and I can add something over the top if I want to cover that bit of blue that's showing through. And then I can just trim away this bit of excess. Right. Alright. This one will do just as text. I'm holding that up to the light so that I can see that I'm putting it in the right place. So line it up there, about there. Where to put my pencil? One thing you need to remember when you're drawing around something like this with a pencil, you need to cut on the inside line. So I don't know whether you can see this, but there's the pencil mark there. If I cut it on that line, I've drawn around the outside of something, so it's made it bigger. If I cut on the outside of the line, it's made it bigger, so I need to cut on the inside edge of the line. If you're not entirely sure, you can cut on the line and then you can trim off any excess that overhangs the edge. Now, because this is quite heavily patterned in terms of text, I think that any tags and note cards that I'll put on the inside of this will need to be fairly plain to balance it out. So otherwise it's just going to hit you in the eye with pattern. and then it's just too much. Too much. Okay, now before I stick that in, I want to ink it up. Side. I don't need to do the bottom bit because that's not going to be visible. Right. Just going to put some glue on the back, on the side there, and on the side here. I'm not putting it across the bottom. I'll explain why in a minute. So I'm going to leave this gap at the bottom, and then that will sit on top there. Then we're going to cover this bit up. Flutterbys will fit on there, I think, yes. Just hold it up to the light again. So, round about there. Draw around that. Then cut that one out. Make sure I've got the opening at the top. It's going to be nothing worse than me sticking this on upside down. Okay, then that will sit on there. Right. And again, I'm just going to ink that up. Now at the moment that just flips open and I don't want it to. I want to form the pocket, so I'm just going to put some glue on this edge over here. And then flip it over. And then that will glue down there. Now I've left it open because if I glue across the bottom bit of that and then slip something inside, then it'll only go down so far. Whereas at least with it being open, I can get something larger in because it will go all the way down to the bottom, and it will actually be prevented from slipping out completely because this is going to be stuck on the bottom of that. So we're going to, first of all, I'm going to put some glue on this end that's open, because I want to close that up to make that pocket. This glue sometimes is either all or nothing. And then glue around the three sides. And then that will attach to the bottom there. So I've now got a pocket there, pocket there, another pocket there, pocket behind, a pocket inside. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 pockets on this. If I'm being really greedy, I could add another strip of paper on top of that and make another pocket there. But I think what I'm going to do is, because this text is upside down, is I'm going to put some lined paper on there to cover that over, so it also becomes a little bit of a writing space. Okay, so now we need to do the front, and I need my window template. So I'm just going to go off and go and make that, and I'll be back in a minute. So I've done my photocopy of my envelope, and I've cut out with my craft knife the window part here. So I've now got the window. Now I've chopped this down, so it means that this is smaller than the actual original template. But I've chosen the page that I'm going to use. I did contemplate using either of these two magazine pieces to put on the front, because I like the colour and the texture of that, but I thought that it was too dark against this. And then I did think about using one of these images out of a gardening magazine, cutting a window out of that, because then it would blend well with the picture in the background, but I thought that that might be a bit too busy, so I've discarded that, and I'm just going to stick with the book pages that I've been using. Now I do know that I want this July the 15th up here, so I also know that this straight edge lines up with the straight edge of this booklet part here, so I'm going to cut across that line there. Let's just do it and then you can see. So I know that that's right. So I know that that line is right. So I'm just going to chop that off there. But I'm not cutting this bit. I know that this line is right, so I don't have to do anything with that. And this line I'm also going to cut longer. All right, so if I put my window template on there, where am I going to position that window so that it now matches up with this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit my window on top, flip it over, and then I'm just going to put some micropore, or you could use washi tape, on the back to hold that in position. Right, flip it back over carefully and just make sure that it's in the right place. So I'm going to flip that back. This edge and this edge I know is in the right position, so I'm going to sit that on top as though I was gluing it in place. Now I just need to bring this a bit closer to me so that I can just make sure that it's all lined up. And then I can flip this over the top, and now I know my window's in the right place. Fingers crossed. So I'm just going to draw around that. I'm going to poke a hole in the middle. And then I'm going to cut around in a spiral action until I hit a side. And I'm going to cut on the inside edge of the line. Oh, I hope this works. Otherwise I'm going to look a right idiot. Just check. Thankfully that worked. Okay. So I can now remove my template, and then I can stick that on top. So I'm going to ink these edges first. Oh, trying to get ink from off the lid. Okay. So the straight edges are easy enough to do with my big sponge. And I'm doing it from underneath and coming from the inside so that I'm pulling that paper down. Now the little curved bits are difficult to get with this big sponge, and I've shown this before. You know, eyeshadow applicators, if you use those, they get into little nooks and crannies really easily. It doesn't make a big splodgy mess. Right, let's put some glue on the back of this. I still haven't trimmed away those excess pieces for now. So I just want to get around that window done. And I know that that corner's right. Then I can flip it over and trim away any of the excess. Yeah, that works. Okay, so I've got a little bit of the window envelope showing there, but I'm not so worried about that. And then I can decorate this up further by adding some stickers on there or some cutouts and ink up around the edges. So I'm going to go off and go and glue a piece on the back here, and then I'm going to show you the closure that I'm going to do. I've been through my scrap craft card pack, and I want a long, narrowish strip. And then I want a shorter, narrowish strip. So this is going to go on the front. I don't want it as long as that, so I'm just going to trim that down. And then that will slip underneath there fine. Okay, I'm going to ink these up. And on this piece I've just poked a hole top and bottom, and I'm going to attach a couple of brads in there, some brass looking brads. And I just need to make sure that they open side to side on this piece and not top to bottom, so that it's not encroaching on this area here. So I've just added some glossy accents on the back here because I like to use that when I'm dealing with metal pieces, and I like to leave it to just go off a little, which I have already done so, and I'm just going to put that on there and leave that to just set on there. And then this little tab piece, I'm just going to pop it through there. I inked up the other side. Pop it through there, and then I can loosely bend it round the back so that I know what size I want it. Chop it down, ink that bit up, and then I can stick that down in position there. I'll bring that back down, glue that on there. And I need to leave that to set. I'm going to add I'm going to cut off this selvage edge off this fabric, and I'm going to glue this on the end here and wrap it round to just cover over that spine area to give it a little bit more strength. So this is basically it. Just got some little bits and pieces that I just want to finish off. So I'm going to add some pictures at the end for you to see the finished piece when I'm all done and dusted, but it's not bits and pieces that you need to watch me fiddle on with. So thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll see you all on Wednesday with another Motivate video. So I'll see you all again then. Don't forget, if you're liking what I'm producing at the moment, subscribe and hit the like button, leave me a comment. Have a go at making your own, share it on other groups or on your own Facebook page or on Instagram or whatever, because sharing really does help that you've followed along with certain videos, not just for my channel but for other channels as well. So thanks very much for joining me. See you soon. Bye for now.